Hi everyone, welcome to Geography at West Coast Sixth Form. I'm Miss Fisher, so I am the lead in Geography, and I'm going to take you through what the AS and A-level Geography course looks like, and I'm going to introduce you to your first topic, which is changing places. Now, over here, you will have two geography teachers. You'll have myself and you will have Mr. Foster. We each teach different topics, which I will introduce in a minute. So you kind of have two separate geography educations as you go through AS and A-level. To begin with, we want to think about what the difference is between GCSE and A-level. So I want you to just stop the video now and have a read through the key differences. So we can see here about independence. This key word that keeps cropping up, synopticity, that means that you need to be able to tell me about the impacts across different people, different timescales, different places. One of the key things that is difference between GCSE and A-level is that there is a huge onus on you to go and do further reading. So if you were to regurgitate the textbook in an exam, you wouldn't get full marks. You need to know the content from the textbook, but you need to be able to input your own examples and wider reading. So take a couple of minutes now, pause the video and just have a read through the difference between GCSE and A-level geography. Okay, so now we know what's different in terms of skills and requirements. We're going to have a think about how you're actually assessed. In AS geography, you have two exams. Your first exam is a physical exam where you'll be tested on coasts and hazards. And your second exam is human geography and fieldwork, where you are assessed on changing places and fieldwork. In the exam, you'll have a range of multiple choice, 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark. You'll go all the way up to 20 mark questions. So essay skills are important. You will need to have a really good quality of written language to complete the course. When you have finished your AS geography, you can decide whether you carry on with A-level or you stick with your AS grade. If you go on to A-level and you sit the A-level exams, you don't get an AS and an A-level, you only get one or the other, so you get your A-level grade. So you need to make sure that you are definitely on the right course. When you do study A-level, it's slightly different. We have three components. You've got a physical geography exam and a human geography exam. Very similar. You've got your 20 mark questions again. In your physical geography, you'll study coasts, hazards, and you will also study water and carbon cycles. In human, you'll do global systems and governance, changing places, and resource security. Now, what's different about A-level geography is 20% of your overall A-level is based on your own fieldwork. So you'll think about which area of geography you are passionate about, and you will go out and you will do some fieldwork. That will be marked by me and Mr. Foster, and that grade will then be sent off to the AQA exam board. And obviously, a really, really brilliant opportunity there, 20% of your overall A-level. So you've got the opportunity to do really, really well in that. Just a little summary then. So in year 12, you'll study coast, changing places and hazards. Year 13, global governance, resource security, and water and carbon. So what I want you to do now is stop the video, take 5 minutes, create a little spider diagram about AS and A-level geography. You need to include answers to those questions on the board. So in 5 minutes' time, you can carry on and we'll look at our first topic. Okay, so now that you've got a better idea of the difference between GCSE and AS A-level geography and you know what the exam structure looks like, we're going to have a bit of an introduction to changing places today. Now, obviously, West Coast Sixth Form is based in Workington. So our changing places case study is our local place, and that is Workington. Some of you might choose to do your local case study on Whitehaven. Obviously, if you're further south, then that is absolutely fine. But today we're going to focus on Workington. So what I'd like you to do is, using a bit of paper, I want you to split your paper into 3, and I want you to have 3 different columns or rows. So number 1, I want history of Workington. Number 2, the changing demographic and cultural characteristics. So remember, demographic is population, so age, ethnicity, sex. And your third column is going to be economic change and social inequalities. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes now to get those headings on your paper. Okay, so now that you've got those headings, I'm going to get you talking. So you can talk with anybody else who's in the class with you. You can talk with the teachers who is leading this. I want you to make notes about what you already know about Workington. So what is the history? What's the culture like? Do we have any local traditions? Maybe thinking about sports. What's the economy like? Is it rich? Okay, are we deprived? What type of jobs would you find here? What is society like? Do we have a huge ethnically diverse culture? Do we have a lot of different religions? Do we have a lot of different traditions? And if you have to describe Workington to an outsider, so somebody who's never been to Workington before, what adjectives would you use? So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to make some notes about that. Okay. So now we've thought about what we already know. I'm going to give you some new information. So your teacher is going to go through the history of Workington. And what I'd like you to do is add your notes to your 3 columns that you've already done. So you've got the history, how the population and cultures changed, and economic change and social inequalities. So I'm going to give you about 20 minutes here to read through. So we've got the history of Workington, we've got the expansion of trade and the type of trade that we had, and we've got a little bit about the prosperity and Sir Henry Bessemer, who is a real key player in Workington's development. I want you to read through this information together, and I would like you to complete this here. So I'm going to give you 20 minutes. Have a little think about our steel industry. What's happened to it? Do we still have it? Has it gone? If it's gone, why is it gone? What's good about this? What's bad about this? And I want you to add it all to your 3 different columns. Okay, so 20 minutes. Here's your task. Off you go. Okay, so now that we've got a good idea of how Workington's changed, its demography, its culture, its economy, we're going to think about field work that you will do. So when you do come to West Coast Sixth Form, your human field work will all be based on Workington and Liverpool, as I said, and it will be looking at why we have such a wide range of inequalities at different areas of the town. So I've got some data for you. A lot of the data that you'll look at is secondary data. And this will give you a feel for the type of skills. Sorry, I'll just have to hide myself away down there for this. The type of skills that you'll need for AS and A-level geography. So you're going to look through the data. So we've got multiple deprivation. We've got the different wards. We've got multiple deprivation in 2015, in 2019. We've got unemployment from the last census in 2011 and the percentage of people with no qualifications. So looking through this, I want to see if you can analyse the data. So I want you to tell me which wards are the most deprived, the least deprived. Is there a link between unemployment, no qualifications, multiple deprivation? And then I want you to look back to those columns that you've populated with information on the demographic, culture, history, and I want you to try and tell me why this exists. So if we were to look at Moss Bay, for example, okay, so Moss Bay, 7.5% unemployment, which is quite a high figure, 42.6% with no qualifications, a high figure, and this also happens to be one of the areas of significant steelworks. Is there a relationship between that? So you've got 10 minutes now to write me a few paragraphs based on the economy in Workington. So what we should have seen there is that the history of Workington has definitely led to some inequalities. Some areas, especially the old steelworks, are quite deprived now. We've got high unemployment there. We've got a lack of investment after the steelworks were outsourced, and it's led to deprivation in the area. Now, this is another key skill that we will be using, so choropleth maps. So I want you to just take a couple of minutes to discuss this with the person next to you. Looking at this map in Workington, what is the pattern of deprivation? Can you explain it? Where is highly deprived? Where has the least deprivation? And then I want you to think about the actual skills involved here. What's good about using this map? What's bad about using this map? You've probably already looked at this in some of your GCSE geography. Do we think, for example, that all of Flimby is about 3 to 2 rank for deprivation? Do we think all of Camerton is about 8 to 8, something like that? Is it too general? Okay. Are these differences? So we can see here in Siddick, there is a huge difference between this area and this area. Is that accurate or is it not? So a couple of minutes, have a little think about that. Okay, the final thing that I want you to do today then, here are the key issues that are facing Workington. I want you to take some time to read through them, and then I want you to tell me how you feel about this. Do you think these are issues that are easily solved? Do these surprise you? What could we do? Do you think that these will improve? Why do you think that these issues exist? And I'd like you to write a paragraph to explain your point of view. If we get finished, which I'm not quite sure we will, got quite a lot of work to do today, you can then complete this extension task. So you've got some more data here about ethnicity. I want you to tell me how you would describe diversity in Workington. Can you explain this diversity and how you think this will change in the future? Final thing from me is your 20 markers. These are examples of the essays that you will have. So take some time to read through these. Did they scare you? Are they horrible? And have a little go at them. See if you could apply your knowledge and the skills that you already have to these 20 markers. As I said before, this is a very brief whistle-stop tour. If you have any questions, if you've got any thoughts, maybe about doing different topics or the skills, write them down, hand them into the teacher who can pass them on to me, or you can just direct your email straight to me and I'm always on hand to help out. I hope this was helpful. Do give me a shout if you want to tell me anything or if you want to give me any feedback or if you've got any questions. Hope to see you all soon.